Hello and welcome to the North American Tinto maps. This is your lot. This is what you're getting. This is 9 playable countries in the entire continent. And while I will say that I expected there to be far fewer playable countries than in EU4, as, you know, these natives have had another 100 years to grow, develop, do whatever. And, you know, with the addition of stateless societies, the societies of pops, then I expected quite a few of the tribes that we know from EU4 to become societies of pops. I will say, though, I was expecting quite a few more than 9. We have 8 in the Pueblo area over here, and then we have Cahokia. And that's your lot, and I'm not gonna lie, I definitely expected triple this, honestly. Yeah, but let us get into Tinto maps, and we will see if they have some justification for this injustice. No, I'm joking. It's not an injustice, but let's see what they have to say. Hello, everyone, and welcome one more Friday to Tinto Maps, this place to be for map lovers. Today we'll be looking at North America, which is very handy as we can deliver some Thanksgiving maps to our friends from the USA and Canada. Yes, it is, in fact, or was yesterday, in fact, the day that the Americans celebrate Thanksgiving. I think the Canadians celebrate Thanksgiving the same day. I actually don't know. But yeah, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I want to thank everyone here watching for watching this video. I want to thank you all for subscribing. And I want to say that if you haven't subscribed yet, I would be very thankful if you were to subscribe. Yeah. Anyway. But yes, I'm not going to read this part out because basically this is some shameless promotion about EU4 and a bunch of its DLCs going on sale right now. So I will put a link to this in the description of this video. EU4 currently on sale. You can pick it up with a bunch of the DLCs. Huge discount. It's amazing. Anyway, moving on. Countries and societies of pops. It's so low though. There's so few. We'll go into the detailed maps, though. Again, that I just need to zoom in. That's all it is. It's going to be a zoom in. But here it looks like the justification. For today's Tinto maps, we thought it'd be a good idea to show both the land-owning countries and the societies of pops, because if we only showed the land-owning countries, we wouldn't really have a Tinto maps to show you. As I commented last week, we're trying to follow consistent criteria for categorizing countries and societies. This is our current proposal for North America, with Cahokia and some Pueblo people being the only regular countries in 1337, surrounded by numerous societies of pops. I'm not bothering to share the dynasty map mode as we don't have any clue about them, and they're auto-generated. However, we have been reading and considering the feedback that we received last week in the Tinto maps for Oceania. We want to let you know that this is our current design proposal, and we want to hear from you what your expectations are regarding the countries that you would consider landed in 1337, and also which countries you'd want to play with in this region, either as landed or as societies of pops. Just top of the list, Iroquois? If you want to call them Haudenosaunee, I'm not sure what the correct terminology is, but yeah, they're kind of important, right? That would be top of my list, at least. As we already know, our commitment is to make Project Caesar a great fun game with your help, and we greatly appreciate the feedback we receive from you in this regard. So, speaking of 1337, we got a little bit of an asterisk here. So, this is already quite tricky, as most of our information comes from post-1500s accounts when the native societies were already looking very different from 2 centuries ago. For example, the first reports made by Hernando de Soto about the Coosa chiefdom around 1540 points it out to be organized in a way we'd consider it a tribal landowning tag as confirmed by archaeology. However, that polity was not organized at that level of complexity in 1337, as there isn't any contemporary data comparable to that of Cahokia. And some decades after the encounter with De Soto and some other European explorers, the mix of diseases had made the chiefdom collapse, being more akin to what a society of pop would be. This type of complex historical dynamism is what made it so difficult to make the right call for the situation in 1337, and also for us to develop with our current game systems the proper mechanisms that would be needed for societies of pops to be fully playable and not just barely half-baked. That is a fair point. essentially, I do see quite a lot of people saying, I want to play as Societies of Pops. And I understand the desire. However, I do not agree with it. I am perfectly fine with Societies of Pops being kind of like a layer underneath that you interact with, but you don't play as, because there just isn't enough there. And the methods that you play this game with don't fit for those countries. And essentially you would need to make an entirely new game system in order to play them, and I just don't know if that's that worth it, you know? This is a game about playing as countries, and if you're not a country, which Societies of Pops kind of aren't, then why would you be able to play as them? You know, you're not able to play as the uncolonized natives that you're, colonizing in EU4, so this is kind of just, But still, I'd like a few more playable than just this, though. Even though, I will say, playing as them would be omega cope, considering, the Europeans are going to come and, give the gift of smallpox to your population and just completely decimate your population. More than decimate, right? Isn't some estimates something like 90%? That's the opposite of decimate. Decimate is 10%. But anyway, this is the Societies of Pops map, which looks a lot healthier. It's just, you can't play as any of these colors. It's nice to see, but it's not going to be on the political map mode, and I'm not going to lie, that's the map mode most people are going to be in most of the time. That is going to be 95% of your game time, is the political map mode. So this is like a special map mode you can go to look at the Societies of Pops. But how often are you going to be looking at this? And we can zoom in and see, Ojibwe. We've seen them in EU4. This area is where the Iroquois is, I believe. I think these guys join into the Iroquois Confederation or Haudenosaunee Confederation. But yet, they're not there. They're just not there. Further south, again, more like, yeah, they're just, I would say that from the perspective of somebody who plays as Europeans a lot in EU4, although my perspective is actually that I play a lot as Anbanar nations, but when I play EU4 vanilla, I generally play as European nations more often than not. That's like probably 80% of my game time. And if I'm playing a colonizer, I will say the natives are, they're less something to interact with and more just a roadblock and an annoyance. And I think this system is better for people who like playing colonial Europeans. I think it will be more enjoyable. I think it will be more, I don't want to say more historically accurate as well. And I'm fine with that. It's just it really is just more of a case of, holy crap, that looks empty, and the kind of knee-jerk reaction to that when we're used to EU4 being so full. It is a very sharp divergence from what we know, and it just looks so empty, though. So, yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you think we should? I'm gonna say right now, if every single one of these was playable, bad idea. Just straight up bad idea. Not. If these were all turned into stated societies like Cahokia, bad idea. I think the idea of these stateless societies is a really good one. But how many of these would you ahistorically turn into stated societies for the pure purpose of gameplay? Not historical accuracy, but for gameplay purposes. Would you say, I'm gonna grab these Natchez people. You're gonna turn you into a stated society. You're gonna go over here. The Tutelo. You. And also, which ones do you choose? It's such. I do not at all envy the devs on making this decision. I don't at all envy them. But anyway, locations. We also have a lovely bit of naval corridors going on over here. But I think their mouse was right here when they took this image because it's highlighted. I will say, I hope that in the game options, there is a setting to turn off highlighting locations, highlighting provinces, highlighting anything when you just mouse over them. I hate that in, say, for example, Victoria 3. I think moving your mouse and things get highlighted like that on the map looks terrible, and I really want the option to turn it off. Just you know, Johan, if you're watching this video, please make that an option. I hate it, and I'm sure there are more than just me that hates it, like, by a lot. It's diabolical. Anyway, there are plenty of locations at the end of the day. It is a big subcontinent. You may notice that we try to use as many native names as possible, although sometimes we fail to achieve that. Any suggestions regarding the equivalences of native and post-colonial will be much appreciated, as it is a huge task to do properly. So, let us zoom in, and, you know, I can't read them. I would have to open it in a new tab and then zoom in. And even then, I am not American. I have not studied Native American history, so these names generally mean fuck all to me. So I will leave this to people who know more than myself. I will more than likely just be colonizing this area anyway. But moving into Florida as well. Oh, that's where your mum lives. I feel like Potato McWhiskey making that joke. God damn. Interesting that they've got special characters here as well. We've seen that before already, but you with a line through it. I have no idea how that is pronounced. Feel free to let me know in the comments. And this is where the Pueblo people are. That's why they're slightly merged in. I do know that this area is like Colorado-esque area, and the person that I do the 3 Moves Ahead podcast with, when we talk about the Project Caesar, is from Colorado, or lives in Colorado, I can't remember which, and she is not very happy with the map of Colorado that we saw when the religion map was shared. Hopefully this is looking better. I don't know if it's changed, but hopefully they are more happy with that. And yeah, some more maps. This is looking like an interesting area. Unfortunately, there's no countries there, so we'll probably never interact with it. Cool. And then a bit of California as well. And Canada is just full of corridors. I don't know what the hell's going on here. That's interesting. How do you get from here to here? Why is this a thing? Why is that a thing? What is going on? Love to know the answer to that one. And yeah, more corridors. They're not even these ones here are corridors. These ones aren't. These are just locations, right? I think. But yeah, and then in Alaska as well. I love that. That Alaska looks pretty fun, actually. Big fan. Big fan. All right. And then for provinces, and for the most part, I can already see there are going to be some very American straight lines, state straight lines here, and I'm not sure I'm entirely in favor of that. I will say as well, I think for the provinces map mode, and for the areas map mode, and for the location map mode, I think sea tiles kind of need to still look like ocean. I don't like that they're colored in. It makes the differentiation between what is sea and what is land, especially the Great Lakes, kind of more difficult than it needs to be. I would like that to change for sure. Here is more province map, but yeah, look at that straight line right there. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. More provinces, straight lines. To be fair, this is kind of the only place that I can see that very, very clearly. So, yeah, areas. Got North Carolina, Virginia, straight line, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, straight lines. What is that, Texas? What is that, Texas? Texas gets its own tiny, tiny area, and then what is Texas in, our modern understanding of it is all been stolen by Natahendi. Oh, Texans in the bin. They are already in the bunker. Areas and with them is an interesting question we'd like you to answer. Which design and style do you prefer? That of the East Coast, more based on colonial and post-colonial borders, or the one for the Midwest and Pacific Coast, more based on geography and less related to attached modern states. The latter, and it isn't close. Like, it's not close, right? The decision here between, more organic, let's call it, locations with borders that follow geography, or I have a modern, very clear, concise, like satellite-looking map. We drew maps with, very much precision, and we have a ruler and a straight line and a pencil and whatever. That's what this looks like. This looks better. Change all of this to look like this. The choice is very obvious to me, and it is, like, it's not close. It's not even close. This is better by such a large margin. Please change this. 100%. As for terrain, we have just so much Arctic in the north, continental, then subtropical, and then we got cold arid around the... it's not the Rockies, is it? This one's the Rockies. No, this one's the Appalachians. This one is the Rockies. The Rockies have got a lot of cold arid, and then arid further south. Very nice. As for topography, the plateaus there, the Rocky Mountain Range, in the Appalachian Mountains, you got mountains and then surrounded by hills, and then a whole bunch of flatlands, then a whole bunch of wetlands on the coast. Makes sense. Yeah. And then finally we have the vegementations. We have lots of woods, lots of forests, grasslands, sparseness. This is like the Great Plains, or is that what they're called? I'm unaware. Forest there in the north, and then, yeah, looking good. Looking good. So comments. Most climates are portrayed in North America from Arctic to arid. The Rocky Mountains are rocky. Regarding vegetation, we wanted to portray the forest cover in 1337, which is tricky, and that's why some areas may look too homogeneous. Any suggestions are welcome. I think it looks fine. As for development, oh boy. The less said about that, the better. Not a very well-developed region in 1337. True. Natural harbors now, and we have some very key ones, some very good ones. Of course, there's a bit of New York going on. There's a little bit of Boston going on, I think. And I actually have very, very bad American geography. This one here is like Louisiana. I think one of these is Boston. Is that one Boston, or is this one Boston? One of these is Boston. I'm pretty sure one of these is Boston. Anyway, yeah, that's looking fine. Also, Great Lakes, not attached to the outside, but you can do naval combat in the Great Lakes with your lovely, your lake fleet. I love that. I think that's really funny. But yeah, loving that. And then over on the other coastline, holy, that is the largest concentration of sexy frickin' harbor locations that I have yet seen in this game. That is crazy. That is beautiful. And then further south, there is also some really good natural harbors as well. Very nice. And also, Alaska has a pretty decent amount of really nice harbors. Just compared to the baseline that you see everywhere else. What a blessed continent. Damn. Anyway, culture-wise, it is full of culture. It's just because this is empty of country does not mean this is empty of culture, right? There is a fair amount of it. The Micmac that you will be familiar with from EU4. We have, of course, the other ones that you're also probably very familiar with. I don't play in this region very often. But yeah, no, perfect. Love that. Love that it's full and they're not like skipping air. I mean, if a location has a single pop, it has a culture. because culture isn't a terrain feature. It is not a location feature. Culture is 100% a population feature. So if a place has one pop, it also has a culture. And then here as well, a bit more zoomed in. Loving that. Zooming on down. And then more culture up here in Alaska as well. Lots of cultural diversity in North America, and also some language diversity as well. So I have no idea what the... Oh, there's Iroquois. I have no idea what the languages sound like. I think I have heard it spoken before, and it is quite something. But I have no idea like which native language it was that I heard when I heard it. So yeah, that is a lot more than I'd say. If I'd thought about it, I would have expected as much language diversity, but it's not something I'd ever thought about. So it's obvious that the entire continent didn't have a single language, but just at the extent of it, I was not aware. But that's cool. I love that. As for religions, they have, obviously, shamanists got split up into a bunch. So we've got ceremonial, we got Midu, the Orandist, we got Wakanist, Salesian, Kuksu, and then more going when you go further south. Very cool. We have a mixed bag here. On the one hand, Eastern and Northern religions look more like the design we're aiming to achieve, while on the other, to the south, you can see the splitter alimist religions based on cultures that we now want to group into bigger religions, more akin to the northern areas. Anyway, raw materials, and this one is an interesting one. Wild game frickin' everywhere. Cotton. We got legumes. We got tobacco. We've got fur as you go further north. But so much wild game. Maize. Is that new? Is that what we're now calling sturdy grains? Because, okay. And also, lots of gold. Nice. That one there, where my mouse is, that's medicaments. We can move on. Yeah, zooming in, you can see it a bit better. Love me some medicaments, some lumber there as well, of course. In the Appalachian Mountains, you got some stone, iron, coal there as well. Coal here, love that. And then in Alaska, lots of fish and gold in the mountains. Wild game, fish, fur are king in the region, but also portraying the three sisters, maize, beans, and squash, the agricultural base for many Native American societies using maize, legumes, and fruit. Cotton is also present in the south, as it was also native to the region, although the modern variant comes from crossing with the Old World one, and there's also mineral resources present here and there. As for markets, boring. Cahokia, we got... What a name. Holy, let me try this. Ialofabo. But that L has got a dash through it, and that A's got an accent on it, so I'm probably very wrong. Yeah. One in Cahokia and another one in the Pueblo Island. Yeah, fair. Population. It's a broken map, so we're not going to see what it looks like. But it's an interesting topic to discuss, as these are the current numbers that they've got for the region. On the continent, 20.4 million. And the subcontinents, 10.2 million in North and Central America. They have a pending task to divide them into two different subcontinents, and 10 million in South America. Okay, so this is something that I hope most people are aware of, but I don't think they are. Depending on where you go in the world, there is a different definition of continent, right? Because there is no geographical definition for continent. It's kind of made up. It's like borders. They're just kind of drawn. And sometimes they make very good geological sense, but sometimes they're kind of heavily politically motivated. So continents, they don't have a physical, actual, solidified definition. So, continent here is North and South America together. That's what this is. Then subcontinent, they're calling North and Central America both subcontinents, and then South America is also a subcontinent. Unless this is, yeah, they have the pending task to differentiate it into two different subcontinents. So what The English-speaking world, I think America, like the USA does this as well, is North America is a continent and then South America is a continent. That's not the case here. What we're doing is the Americas as a continent and then 3 subcontinents, which I think is pretty fair. Anyway, regions. Canada has 162,000, 1.1 million on the East Coast, 142,000 in Louisiana, 154,000 on the West Coast, and 43,000 in Alaska. And that is all for today. There won't be a Tinto Maps next week, as it's a bank holiday in Spain. It's always a bank holiday in Spain. They love their bank holidays. It's fair enough. So the next one will be Central America on the 13th of December. But before that, they will post the Tinto Map feedback for Russia on the 9th of December. So enjoy that. If you have not subscribed and you wish to see this, subscribe and you will see this. But yeah, what are my thoughts on this? I think, in summary, I would have liked more. This looks nice, but I feel like it's kind of, for most people when playing, it might not be something that you interact with all that much, but hopefully I'm wrong. And yeah, borders for areas. This is better than this. Please make this look more like this. Those are my thoughts. I hope you guys agree with me, because I'm right, and I would like you guys to be right as well. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comment section below. Feel free to call me names. Don't do that. It makes me sad. But I will see you guys in the Tinto Yaps that I will do on Sunday or Monday. Hope to see you there for that. If you want to see it, subscribe. It's the 3rd time I've plugged that. And I will see you then. Bye-bye.